the mic on the table, try not to wiggle it too much.
Keep my hands off of it.
When squeaky noise from that, you can't try not to do that. We just want to make sure we're in focus.
Hey guys, what's up?
It's cold out there in case you weren't aware.
Yeah, it's very cold.
Very cold out there.
I am the Money Colin Brooks, based out of New London, Wisconsin, and my debut match was May 9th, 2014.
So this is the famous pups, huh?
This is it. This is all of it. Yeah. Yep. I trained at the Dojo of Pain by Shane Hills. I would also credit Sadist and Stacy Shadows to have a big hand in training me. I remember I went to my first camp and I was preparing not to ever come back to wrestling camp ever again.
So who all has been here in the wrestling community?
Jordy.
Oh, he's been here?
Yep, he picked me up on a trip to Minnesota. He actually, as we were leaving the parking lot, we were the only car in the parking lot, and he backed into that tree that's in the middle of the parking lot. I expected it to be the worst possible thing on the planet. So in that aspect, there was nothing that happened that was gonna exceed my expectations. But I learned that I just did what was asked of me, whether it was the blow up drills or the bump drills, and I didn't piss and moan about it, things were gonna be okay, you know?
Nah. You been to a Bucks game?
Not in the new arena.
No.
The only time I was in the new arena was for the Travis Scott concert last year.
Okay.
Last February.
Yeah, how was that?
Great. The first match I remember watching and falling in love with wrestling was the tag team ladder match from No Mercy 1999, the final of the Terry Invitational Tournament, the Hardy Boys against Edge and Christian. What was it, a bag of money that was up top?
Could have been.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you how many times I watched that match, though. I don't know if I had it on a VHS tape, but I fell in love with Jeff Hardy. He was my dude.
Can you tell us about your debut match?
One of the cooler days of my life, to be honest. Me against Steve in Rockwood.
He's gonna kill Colin. He's gonna kill him. He's gonna kill Colin. Oh my God.
Coach bus full of people who signed up to come to the show. I remember the coach bus somehow got lost on the way to the show.
Really?
Yeah, they were almost late. They were late. They delayed the start of the show because all these people that were supposed to show up weren't there yet. That added a bunch of unneeded stress until they finally showed up to the show.
We want Simba! We want Simba!
But it was very cool. It was a very cool moment. I was lucky enough to get the win in my first wrestling match.
We want Simba!
But I couldn't have had a better person to have a first match with than Steve. Consider myself very lucky.
Come here! Yes!
Jerry from the Front Row Mafia asks,
Here we go.
explain the choice of Simba besides Lion King.
The more and more I hear that, whenever that gets brought up, I cringe more and more further away I get from it. Not the greatest idea I've ever had, but if I'm gonna put my most positive spin on it, I can. It's that I was told I was debuting and having my first match so fast that I wasn't able to think of a name. The young lion, Colin Brooks, would have been just fine. But yeah, and I was doing Max Pride for a minute, and then Dysfunction outside of a show one time is you know, man, every time I hear Max Pride, I just think Gay Pride. And now there's nothing wrong with that, but I was oh, now I'm never gonna be able to unhear that. You're a big CM Punk mark, right? Why aren't you just Colin Brooks? The people were there was yep, that's it. And that it's stuck ever since. He can take full credit for that if he would want to or not.
Yeah, I gave him a roll. He's got one for me.
Oh,
I'm one behind.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Did you get everything done in your
So, what was the inspiration behind at the time Young Money? That whole concept, and where did the money gun idea come from?
Young Money was, I think it was something that Nathan Gus threw at me, one Now show, and it's just kind of like, yeah, that's dope, that's cool. I'm not money because I'm rich, which I think is what a lot of people think the character is.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's got nothing to do with it. It's because I'm not like biggest dude. I'm not really the most athletic guy, but for some reason I've just succeeded in wrestling because I don't know what it is. Kids just money. But the money gun actually came from a concert when I was in college in Stevens Point. Juicy J was at the Stevens Point Gymnasium, and at one point during the concert, he got out a money gun and started shooting out money into the crowd. And my roommate at the time looked at me and he was like, "You should get one of those for wrestling."
I'm guessing y'all have a lot of hunters up in this area?
Yeah.
Rednecks, looks like deer hunters.
Laughed about it, and 2 weeks later, I don't know, I was looking on the internet and bought a money gun. Whole money concept, Jordy Lee really put that over the top for me when we were on a road trip home from Minnesota, and he was just like, "You should try and be like college Johnny Manziel, like at the peak." That was it. And still, like, that's pretty much what Young Money is. The Money is peak cocky Johnny Manziel in college.
So, what has been your best match so far, and which opponent or opponents would you say bring out your best?
I like when I get the opportunity to get in the ring with somebody who's less experienced than me. I've been very lucky to always, I understand the concept of always trying to get in the ring with people better than you is the only way to get better, but also like working somebody who you feel is you're superior than, and like being able to bring them up like Steve's done with me, and getting like a great match out of this guy, and seeing what you could do with him, knowing that like you're the vet out there more or less, and this match is either going to be good or bad because of me. I enjoy that, but I think there's a lot to be said for, I guess, what it can do for, it does a lot for my confidence and my, I guess, sense of I'm doing something right when I have a good match with somebody like that. So yeah, the Dojo Boys were put together. They were myself and Adam Grace. We trained around the same time. I think I started training like 2 weeks before he did, and I had my first match like, I don't know, a month or two before he had his first match. We were paired together sooner rather than later after we both started wrestling. It was just on a poster for one of the WPW shows.
Oh, okay.
All of a sudden, me and Adam saw that we were the Dojo Boys on a poster, and yeah, just kind of rolled with it, and it just stuck. Us two generic, very, very green kids who were just trying to learn how to wrestle. It just made more sense for us to, instead of working singles matches on cards where like 50% is on us and 50% is on the opponent, all of a sudden you add two more people to that, and then we kind of like divide up the pressure. I think it was very good for us, and I'm a big Dojo Boy guy. I love tagging with him, it's so much fun.
So Sadist was your first match, and you were handpicked by him to be his last match in WPW. What does that mean to you?
Sadist is by far the biggest influence on me. For any success or any abilities I have as a pro wrestler, I would credit immediately to Sadist. He's so good. And when he just being... After my first match, I feel like... I don't know if he took me under his wing necessarily, but I kind of tried to force myself under his wing. It was mutual friendship, sooner rather than later. It was when he first brought up the idea of me being his last match. So he had, just kind of fantasy booking ideas on the phone with each other. Like, he would talk about it, and there were a couple people here and there who he'd mentioned, but as soon as he was like, what if we were my last match? I was like, yes, that's happening. We're doing that. It was a very cool kind of full circle thing, to go from my first match to his last match. And honestly, probably my like most cherished relationship I've gotten from wrestling is with Steve. I've never said a bad thing about the guy. I've never had a bad thought about the guy. He's helped me more than I can describe. He's a model example of what if every indie wrestler tried to be more like Sadist, I think that the indie wrestling scene would be better off.
And you, now, everybody, he is the man with this title. You all have to accept it. He's really damn good at what he does, and he gives a shit.
Got actually people come in here with their kids. They want t-shirts, Colin Brooks.
Yep.
It's just amazing.
Why is it that Pup looks like he has more street cred than you in your profile picture? And do you think that raise will ever come?
The guy's more famous than me. I don't know what to tell you.
I mean,
I'm living in his shadow.
Anytime I look at that profile picture, I feel like you're looking off trying to be cool. And he's
cool.
No, he's looking at me like, I'm starting to question what I said to possibly get my ass kicked. Like, I'm worrying what I said now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I'm trying to be cool. Pup's just cool.
Oh. So what do you think about your son being in pro wrestling, how he is?
It was a dream. He had a dream. He started. And once he started, he kept with it. We were behind him, and he just kept doing what he had to do, and his first match was very special.
Deep down, at the end of the day, like, I just want to be good. That's all I want, right? Like, I don't need titles. You want those things, because those are still accomplishments, but, like, I just want to be a good indie wrestler. I didn't start training because I wanted to be on TV. I knew that was crazy. It's still crazy. Like, look at me, you know? I just want to be good at it. And it's hard with wrestling because, like, how do I know if I'm good? Maybe I'm just working good people. Maybe I'm just put in good spots. And that's something that, like, I don't know if I'm good yet, but I feel like when I know that I'm good, I'll know. That's all I want. I just want to know that I'm good. On Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at the Colin Brooks. TheColinBrooks. The Colin Brooks. All social media.
All right, cool. Easy as that.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.